Time to move on to our next category, which is solo businesswoman. Now, this category is to recognise professional women working as a sole trader entrepreneur, and they've been trading for 3 years or more without any employees. It can be a lonely trek. Sometimes when you're a sole trader or you're an entrepreneur with no staff to fall back on. But I suppose if you're resilient enough, you'll be successful enough. And we're going to be speaking to 3 of the 4 finalists in this section this afternoon. And first I have Maura Ginty from Belmullet. And Maura runs her own company all on her own. It's called Gintax. Maura, tell me about Gintax.
Yeah, thanks, Tommy. I set up my own firm over a year ago at this stage, and I provide tax advice mainly to businesses and individuals on areas like property, deals and wealth management. I suppose for non-business individuals, the main topic I'd advise on would be inheritance and inheritance tax.
Where does the word gin come from in the title?
It's my surname. My name is Ginty, and it's an easy, rememberable name.
So it's nothing to do with alcohol at all?
No, nothing.
Okay. And when you say, offering tax advice, so if somebody, for example, was to win the lottery,
yeah,
what advice would you be giving them?
Come and see me quickly, preferably before you go to the Lotto HQ. The key thing with tax advice is just getting tax advice early before you do a transaction, or before, or just so you can plan. If you're coming into a bit of money, or you're going to sell your business, or you're due to receive an inheritance, the best thing is to chat to someone who knows about the tax way in advance, so it can be planned for. There are lots of reliefs that are available for various things, but there's conditions, so you just need to speak to an expert.
And sometimes, you mentioned the reliefs that are available. The revenue do offer a lot of incentives in various ways for people to avoid paying tax. I think people always see revenue as a money grabber, when in fact, if you actually analyse it, a lot of the time, if you're practical and prudent, there are escape routes. Yeah, no, there's loads, especially to incentivise nowadays, we'll say entrepreneurs. There's like a 10% rate for entrepreneurs selling their business. If you're selling property, it's 33%. So there's a big incentive there for actually doing something and creating employment. And that's all government-led. And hopefully there'll be more of those incentives coming into the more difficult 2021. But there are other things. For everyone, for any individual, I'd always say the most basic one and the most boring one is contribute to your pension and ensure your pension relief is maximised, which no one wants to hear, but ultimately in the long... Would it be fair to say that you operate in a niche market?
Very much so. There's not many people doing exactly what I do. Just a bit about my background is I'm a chartered accountant. I'm a member of the Irish Tax Institute, and I spent 16 years working in Dublin in KPMG, a big accountancy firm. All I did in that time period was tax, and even still, sometimes I need to look up the law, double check things. There's no two facts the same, which makes my job interesting, but it's why people, especially if there's a lot of money involved or there's anything tricky, you need someone like me.
Would it be fair to say you got tired of the accountancy side of it, sitting in an office churning out figures all day, and rather than doing that, you wanted a bit more? Yeah,
I've always wanted to run my own business, and I suppose back when I was growing up in probably in the 90s, it was never feasible for someone like me to work down the West. You always needed a snazzy office in Dublin. And now, in the last few years, even in the last few months, remote working and doing what I do from the West is really possible. So, I love it. And I love going out and meeting people, meeting business owners. It's great fun.
And you live in Belmullet.
Well, actually, Tommy, Ballycroy.
Okay, Ballycroy. Let's be precise.
But, we're all the same in Erris. And, it's a great place to live. And you were down there recently enough. And, love it's a great community.
Well, listen, well done. So anybody out there who's looking for a bit of tax advice, maybe you've come into a bit of money, maybe you're selling on your premises, and there are incentives out there for you to avoid having to pay maybe the amounts of tax that you will pay if you don't talk to somebody like Maura Ginty. Her company is called Gintax, or do you say
Gintax,
or Gintax?
Yeah, either way.
And,
just give me a call.
And your website?
Is gintax.ie.
Gintax.ie. Maura, thanks a lot.
Thanks very much, Danny.
And put a bit of money into your pension now, all right? Although you're self-employed, so I don't know if you can even pay into a pension. That's another day's story. That's Maura. We go now to Laura McDonald from Castlebar. Her company is called Eden Wellness. Laura, hello.
Hello, Tommy. How are you?
Good. How are they all in the Garden of Eden?
Hopefully they're very well.
Good. Well, in Eden Wellness, you're well too. Tell me about your company.
It's a therapy business, and I use mainly hypnotherapy and BWRT to help people with a range of issues.
BWRT stands for?
Brain Working Recursive Therapy. It's a form of psychotherapy.
Okay. So are we talking needles?
Nope.
No. So if I go to you What kind of ailments would I need to have?
Anything at all that's related, mainly in your mind. So it could be stress, depression, anxiety, fears or phobias.
Okay.
Confidence issues, weight issues. Anything really.
Okay. And the kinds of therapy that you use, do they vary depending on what is wrong with people? So if, say for example, a lot of people do suffer from depression, for example,
Yes, yeah.
particularly at the moment.
Yeah.
So what kind of things happen? Just talk me through the process.
Each person has it's individual to each person. So I wouldn't say this, X has to have this kind of therapy. I'd talk to the person, get as much information about their issue as possible, and design a plan. Like it could be 2 sessions, it could be 4. And if it's depression, we'd be working alongside the GP with their consent, mainly getting to the root cause of the problem and getting rid of that root cause issue, which brings down the
stress levels.
Yes.
And so on. Yeah. So during COVID now, you're sole trader.
Yeah.
So I assume you've got your own clinic.
I rent a room in a clinic.
In a clinic, right?
Yeah.
So during COVID-19 and with all the restrictions, has that had a huge impact on your business?
Yeah, I haven't been able to see anyone.
You
at
can't
all.
do this stuff online.
You can do it online, but I've also got 4 children at home, 3 here at school. So I've had to stop completely, unfortunately, because even though it can be done on Zoom, it's not very nice with the kids coming in and out of the room. So anyone who's been contacting me, I've been offering free email support, or I've also recorded some hypnosis tracks, which they're not enough on their own. So I've referred people on to other practitioners to help them. That's all I've been able to do at my own.
Yeah, but at least you're diversifying in as any way you can.
Yeah.
Do you enjoy working on your own?
Yes, I do, but this network has really helped, having a support. It's like having colleagues to sound off to, and yeah, it's pros and cons.
Yeah. And how long are you a sole trader?
16 years.
Really? That long?
Yeah.
Would you go back into the general workforce again?
I would, but at the moment it works around the family.
Yeah.
I can pick and choose my hours, but I wouldn't rule out.
Okay.
Going back.
If people want to know more about your business, Laura, what should they do?
They can visit edenwellness.ie.
Okay, that's EDEN wellness.ie.
Yeah.
And at the moment, as you say, because of the guidelines and the restrictions, you can't see people, but fingers crossed that will
hopefully September I'll be back.
Lift. Yeah.
Seeing people.
Okay, well listen, well done, Laura.
Thank you very much.
And keep up the great work. That
Thank you.
is Laura from Castlebar, Laura McDonald from Eden Wellness joining us. And next in our category, this category is Solo Businesswoman category finalist. Third finalist is from Castlebar, also Carna First Aid Training. This is Marina King. Hello, Marina.
Morning. Good evening, Tommy.
Oh, that's all right.
Good afternoon.
I know where you're at. So, Marina, you're from Castlebar. Carna First Aid Training. I suppose it's self-explanatory. Do you train first aid?
I do. I teach. I'm a first aid instructor. I also do the manual handling, fire safety and the infection control. And because of COVID, I do the COVID-19 training as well for people if they need it.
When you say COVID-19 training, be more specific.
The compliant training that you need for going back to work, when you need to have somebody COVID trained in the workplace to make sure things are running smoothly in the business.
How long are you a sole trader?
I'm a sole trader 3 years now, Tommy.
Prior to that, what were you doing?
I was a mammy and I was also a carer for my mother at the time.
And taking the plunge to open your own company and realise that you would be a one-woman operation, was that difficult?
It was very difficult, but thankfully I had a lot of support. I have 2 fine sons at home who were a great support to me, and a lot of friends who supported me as well through the hard times and the good times.
And have you got lots of customers?
I would have a lot of customers around the country. I travel nationwide. I would do a lot in Limerick, Dublin, Tullamore, Cork, all around the country really. I would travel to do the courses.
Yeah, and you took this on at a time in your life when an awful lot of women would have said, look, I've raised the family, I've done the hard lifting, I might start taking things a bit easier.
You would think that, but with the 2 lads that I have, they were at home, they'd gone off to college, done what they needed to do, and they said, now, ma'am, it's your turn to do something. So I'm a member of the Order Malta in Castlebar, I'm the training officer with them, so I decided to train myself as an instructor, and like that, with a lot of support, I started my own business.
As a sole trader, is it hard some days to incentivise yourself, motivate yourself to do it?
It can be some days. Sometimes you might get a course and for some reason or other it might get cancelled. So then you're 3 days wondering, what am I going to do? But like that, you will spend a lot of time getting in contact with companies and emailing people.
Has COVID had an effect?
It has. We weren't allowed classroom teaching, but what we could do 2 days on Zoom, 2 days of the PowerPoint presentations and that. And then we were allowed 1 day in the classroom. Obviously, there's only 8 people allowed per course, so you would have a room big enough to do social distancing and make sure people have the proper protection on them.
Sure. Well, listen, well done. It sounds like you're enjoying it.
I love doing what I do, yeah, love it.
Goody. And they're all good to you at home when you come in after a hard day's work, realising that Mum has been on her own all day paddling the canoe.
That's it.
And they look after you, do they?
They do. 2 great lads.
Goody. Well done, Marina.
All
Thank
right,
you very much. Well
Thank
done.
you.
That's Marina King from Carna First Aid Training. I should give her the website address as well, Marina. So you don't have a website, just if people want to get in touch, what's the best way to do it?
I'm on Facebook. It's Carna First Aid Mayo. And
why Carna? What's the...
The name came from my eldest son. We were trying to pick a name for the business, and Carna actually is the patron saint of the vital organs.
Wow.
So that's where the name Carna First Aid. That was Sam picked the name, and my youngest son Josh, then he designed my logo.
Every day is a school day.
Every day is a school day. So.
Lovely. Well done, Marina. Thank you
right.
very much. Marina King there from Carna First Aid Training, her own company, sole trader. Now, unfortunately, Mary Corrigan from New Chocolates in Ballina can't be with us today, but Mary is also a finalist in this category. So, who is the winner? Well, Brenda is going to be with us in just a second. Sorry, Brenda, I didn't realise you were involved with the paparazzi there. But anyway, Brenda, it's time to announce the winner of this category.
Well, Tommy, as we said earlier, the awards this year is to recognise members. They're wearing many different hats through COVID and through this last year, and that has been a focus of the Transformed Awards. So the winner in this category, through her volunteering in her personal time, she spotted a gap in the market that she felt she could fill. She upskilled in her field and developed a solution which is ever expanding. Her main focus is to help people, and she has used this focus to develop her business. She's a very, very strong professional woman who is innovative and focused. And the winner for the Solo Businesswoman of the Year this year is Marina King.
Well, congratulations to Marina. We just spoke to her, so the Saint Carna was looking down on you along the way. Marina, congratulations. And again, congratulations too to the runners-up, Maura Ginty from Gintax or Gintax, Laura McDonald from Eden Wellness, and of course from New Chocolates in Ballina, Mary Corrigan. So there you are. That's the Sole Trader Award. If you've just tuned in and you're wondering what's happening, it's not the Oscars, but it's the next best thing. It's the Network Ireland Mayo Awards for Business Woman of the Year Awards. It's a very curtailed, diluted awards this year. We're in a function room in Brafey House Hotel in Castlebar, abiding by all of the guidelines in terms of social distancing, etc. So you can be assured everything has been done completely above board. We still have more categories. We're going to be going to the Emerging New Business Award category soon. Also the Solo Business Woman category finalists have to be talked about. Lots more as well coming up, including our Power Within Champion category, and we'll also before 5 o'clock be announcing the Network Ireland Mayo Businesswoman of the Year. So do stay with us. Back in a moment.